13 Reasons Why is a Netflix original series that follows Clay Jensen after the suicide of his friend Hannah Baker. 2 weeks after her death, Clay received a box of cassette tapes which were narrated by Hannah before her suicide and sent to 12 other students. These tapes detailed the events, people, and moments that ruined her reputation and pushed her beyond her breaking point, and ultimately her death. The show consists of many moments of androcentrism and doing or undoing gender. Throughout the first season, Hannah is consistently harassed and bullied by schoolmates as well as slut-shamed. This begins the day after going on a date with Justin Foley, a very popular basketball and football player. In this scene, Justin takes pictures of Hannah while she was going down a slide wearing a skirt. The next day, Justin shows his friends the photos, and one in particular reveals Hannah's underwear. Even though they just kissed, Justin gained positive recognition from them after claiming he had sex with Hannah. His friend Bryce Walker, the captain of 3 sports teams, sent the pictures of Hannah to almost everyone in the school, which labeled her a slut because of her supposed sexual experience. This goes against society's idea of femininity. Students began to laugh, stare, and be openly judgmental towards her. This shows how a higher status allows for such power to be displayed by boys or men without care. Their dominant masculinity makes the young men in the series play a role in how they interact with their peers. Screenwriter Brian Yorkie explains, "In high school, your reputation is everything, and Hannah stopped being a human being to all those guys and became a thing." In one episode, a Hot or Not list was written by a group of male students that viewed girls as objects and compared their bodies. This shows a social hierarchy by the dominant male group because they're ranking girls by their physical qualities. Hannah was listed as best ass, which made it, in her own words, open season on Hannah Baker. The list resulted in Hannah being sexually fondled and gazed upon by many of her male peers. Bryce ran into Hannah at a convenience store and offered to pay for her items, then got close to her and grabbed her. He proceeded to say, "For what it's worth, that list got it right." The power Bryce had over Hannah at this moment is exactly what society believes in, for males to be dominant and females to be submissive. He was able to get away with what he did to her because of his power. In another episode, Hannah wrote a poem detailing her deepest feelings, and in that poem included references that resulted in people negatively sanctioning her for. The beginning of the poem states, "Today I am wearing lacy black underwear, for the sole purpose of knowing I am wearing them." And underneath that, "I am absolutely naked." The entire poem was put into the school magazine, but the author was listed as anonymous, but even then, everyone knew it was Hannah who wrote it. People continued to treat Hannah like she was a joke for expressing her deepest emotions and twisted it in a way to label her as a skank. In terms of masculinity, it's very toxic. Bryce bought Clay a bottle of malt liquor after telling him he needed some. Once outside, Bryce's male friends were waiting on the side of the convenience store and forced Clay into a drinking competition even though he said he can't. Justin threatens him by saying the only way he can leave is buzzed or beat down. Another character proceeds to call him a name that would be seen as attacking his masculinity. The diagram gives examples of how the characters in the show act masculine or feminine. The masculine traits are aggressive, athletic, stoic, and dominant, which are mainly shown amongst the male high school characters. The feminine traits that describe some of the characters include sexual experience, submissive, sensitive, emotionally expressive, and not being able to stand up for oneself. The TV show's display of masculinity and femininity are a little out there, and even though you may not have experienced these things, it's very possible that someone else has. Society's influence on masculinity and femininity are shown throughout the series, as well as people undoing or doing gender.